For Shedeur, I think the thing that I like the most is how comfortable he is inside of chaos. So, if a guy is jittery, if a guy is uncomfortable inside the pocket, he creates his own pressure rolling out kind of against maybe like phantom situations where, hey man, there's no reason to leave the pocket to the right. It's something Baker Mayfield battled early in his career.
Yep.
Was kind of rolling to the right too often. And then you get out of the pocket and you create your own pressure because your O-line doesn't know where you're going to be. So I think he's got a very, and I kind of place this with the caveat of like that Colorado offense was Shedeur driven, period. Like they didn't do well in the run game. They didn't mirror their run and pass well to give him deception-based looks that created easy throws. Now, there were some screens and stuff that helped get it out of his hands quickly, but as far as opening up downfield alleys, they're just, from an X and O standpoint, were not enough opportunities to make things easier for him. Now he's got Travis Hunter at that level, which is nice, and Jimmy Horn is a nice player, and they got nice, LaJonte Webster. They had nice players around him at the wide receiver. There was skill, but like the offense was basically you get it where it needs to go. We're going to drop you from the gun 3-5 and let you figure it out. And it was just a lot because defensive linemen were teeing off. There was very little deception in terms of like linebackers punching out and playing underneath intermediate routes. DBs didn't have to worry about fitting run very often because the first two levels. So my theory here is like he was doing a lot, and I thought he was, even in the midst of when things weren't going well or when, there's just a lot of predictability in what they were doing, his comfort inside the pocket and delivering a football, making throws in chaos, it's really good. I like that because you can't really teach that. You can either do that or you can't. And I think that's a huge part of what he's really good at.
So what was it about Shedeur? You kind of already hit on his cool and the, calm in the chaos, kind of one of his top strengths. Let's start off with, what did you see on film that concerned you or was a weakness of Shedeur? And then we'll just kind of talk about him overall.
Yeah, the stuff that concerned me was being on time all the time. I think there were some times where he would try to hunt downfield plays that ended up causing him to drift in the pocket or try to escape and play some backyard football at times and created negatives that didn't need to be created. Now, I think he's a really accurate thrower of the ball. I think he's the arm is good enough at the NFL level. I don't think it's elite, but I think it's good enough. And I do think he's willing to process it front side to backside and try to find answers. But I think the thing that I noted was that, like, hey, can he avoid negatives? Can he consistently play on time? So, like, Shedeur has pretty consistently been the best quarterback he's ever been around, right? He doesn't, I think there's a little bit from Shedeur of like, whether it's high school ball or Jackson State and obviously at Colorado, if he ain't making the play, no one's making it, right? If he's not doing this, if he's not putting it where it needs to go, like, he has not lived inside of a football world where he's just a part of the process. I think he's very much been, and this is not to say it's a negative per se, but he's been the focal point of everything under his dad, where he's been in the belief that he is, the best quarterback in a class, et cetera, et cetera. So, like, if Shedeur's talents were transcendent in the mold that, I don't know, and I'm not even saying Cam Ward's tools were that, but I'm like, think of like Trevor Lawrence coming out or some of these others that have been first picks. It's like, if that were the case, the physical stature, and he was say 6'5", and he was, God-given electric arm, and he wouldn't. The concerns that caused him to slip to the fifth round wouldn't have mattered. Someone would have taken him early. Browns would have probably taken him second, right? We'll overcome all that because the tools are just ridiculous. I think the tools are relatively average. He's an average athlete. I think Dylan Gabriel, probably neither of them tested, but I think Dylan he would have tested better. I think he's a better athlete as far as moving, running, and changing direction. So Shedeur's, and I'm not saying Shedeur can't move. He's not slow. He's just not he's not great. It's an average athlete with an average arm, and at times at Colorado put some bad habits on tape. Now, I had a late first, early second round grade on him because I feel like the collective nature of his tools paired with how he processes information and plays with some calm showed me a guy that I would take a risk on, right? Trying to figure this out. Can he be the guy, right? I'm okay with the 33rd pick being a quarterback. You're taking a swing on a second rounder. I liked enough of what he did to feel like he could do it. Now, the problem is, it sounds like every part of the pre-draft was rough. He didn't give teams a good look at who he is or what he can do. And I think it's pretty obvious that if these things were as rough in the interview process as we have heard, that it's easy to see why he fell. Nobody's in love with the tools to that degree, right? I think some second round teams would have been in on him or maybe moving up if he was unbelievable interview, came in prepared, crushed interviews, all of that. I do think that there's probably a team in the late first in the Jackson Dart mold or second round that takes him. But if things go really rough, we don't know. We don't have an idea of who Shedeur is away from his dad because his dad's going to all the interviews. We don't have an idea of how smart he is because he wouldn't get on a whiteboard with us because he thought he was going early in the draft. Some of those things that you heard about, and this is not to knock Baker, but there were a lot of things around Baker around hey, the teams in the 13th overall pick didn't send him a playbook. They sent him a playbook. He didn't want it because I'm going earlier, right? You can do all that when it's a lock and when it's like that, but that's the dangerous world they're dancing in. Hire an agent. That's a different thing. The dad is a huge part of things. That's a different, it's not what I'm getting at is you don't have to squint hard to see why NFL teams are turned off, right? Doesn't take much, but I do think that he has the tools to be, a functional part of an offense that he is not the main focal point. Same with Dylan. I don't think either of these guys, as obviously as that is, think about, again, going back to, I hate to go back to Purdy, but you're looking at hey, give me some examples of guys who are mid to late round quarterbacks who started, found success. The 49ers, super veteran oriented, great defense, great run game, made it easy for him, play action, big tight end, some nice wide receiver threats. The Browns, I think, view themselves in a similar vein. We have a good defense. We have a good structure offensively. We're going to place and make it easy on these. If either of these two guys can show they can master the verbiage of the offense, they can master checks at the line of scrimmage, they can master the huddle. If they can show they can do that, I do think the structure around them offensively can be conducive for a young guy coming in, stepping on the field, and showing he can keep a group on schedule and kind of push the ball down. Like Purdy started 5 games his rookie year, played in 9 total. As I was looking at it the other day, he still threw for 13 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. So it's not impossible here. Teams want to believe that these guys, but when they get their chance, are they ready to do so? For Shedeur, and what you're looking at, paying attention to in this early portion is how well does he, it's the old Kevin Love, LeBron goofiness. Does he fit in or does he try to fit out? Right. If he can be just a part of this offense and be a low maintenance piece of guiding, directing, distributing, he can be an answer. He's got a live arm enough at the NFL level. He's got the processing, I think, can be fine. I think there's a lot of he's very well-rounded. May not be elite in any one category, but he's well-rounded. So if he can continue to stay on script, on schedule, on time, avoid negative plays, as we know, who gets paid in the NFL? Quarterbacks, wide receivers, offensive tackles, defensive linemen, and corners. People who stop the passing game and people who stop the quarterback. Mm-hmm. If you can't take sacks, you can't take ugly sacks in the NFL. It's a death sentence. So he can't take negatives. So can he speed up his mental to get the football out where it needs to get and avoid taking negative plays, throw the football into the first row, that kind of stuff. I need to see it. It's the same thing with Dylan, where I think they're capable enough to do this, but I need to see how it looks inside of the structure. It's clear the Browns are trying to 49ers this thing from that year where we have a good defense. We have all the elements on offense, a couple tight ends now we feel good about. We know one of them's really damn good. We got a couple good receivers we feel good about to play, a significant amount of 12 personnel, but also we think Deontay Johnson can come in and separate, play a little 13 personnel. We got 2 running backs in this draft. Think about, again, how rare it is to see some teams do the things they're doing. The Browns, you don't see teams pick 2 running backs in the same draft with that sort of, not a second rounder and a 7th, but a 2nd and a 4th.
Yeah.
They're going to try to run the hell out of the football and make whoever is playing quarterback have the easiest approach to the position. So, yeah, man, I think that's why it's possible one of these young guys can do it. And I think, again, they're looking for somebody who can just keep things moving in a good direction, stay on time, navigate. They're not asking to do what Deshaun Watson has been trying to get the Browns to do and obviously got them to do last year, which was make him drive the bus. They want to make the quarterback just be a guy sitting in the middle of that bus, just doing their role and make it as easy for them as they can. So, there's a larger conversation, Josh, about like, what are they trying to create here with the 4 quarterbacks? Because I think a lot of folks are like, look at these 26 quarterbacks. They can draft one. And that might ultimately be an outcome. But this roster is not in a spot where Joel's returning and some of these Miles is extending. And like, Grant is older on a second contract. Denzel is older on a second. It's not a punt the season thing here. They want to find lightning in a bottle with one of these 4 quarterbacks that can make it as easy as possible. And for those guys, whoever's back under center. And then the part of it that is the backup plan is, if this goes horrifically and none of them sort it out and give us decent play, and maybe we have the 15th pick, and we're hoping the Jags are bad and we can couple those up with a top 5 and move into the top 5 with the team that doesn't need a quarterback, give them 2 first-round picks and take a swing on a 26 guy if we want to. So I think they're trying to live in 2 worlds here. I haven't really dug into this on my own pod, but I think that's what's going on organizationally is, hey, we got a chance with a fun group of veterans and a chance to one of these guys, Kenny Pickett could be the guy too, can come in and navigate and keep us on schedule and keep the offense moving, make the simple throws. We think we can win 9 games, 10 games. And if that happens, hell yeah, maybe we got an answer here, Josh. But if not, let's have this other backup plan in place that we can hunt out a bigger name if we feel so inclined.